Welcome back, guys. Sherry here. Now I'm going to show you how to get the camera. I'm also going to give you some tips how to survive the depths. I'm going to give you some tips on how to build a vehicle. I'm also going to show you where we can go to get a piece of armor that's going to help you to traverse the depths. And I'm going to show you how to get auto build. So let's get into it. Now, once you make your way off of Sky Island, you get to Lookout Landing. You have talked to Purah and opened the tower. You need to talk to Robbie and Joshua. Now, if you don't know how to open the tower, you can click the link in the upper right-hand corner. I'll also leave a link in the description. And after you talk to these two, we're going to get the quest Camera Work in the Depths. And then Robbie's going to leave, and we have to follow him. And we just need to go a little south of Lookout Landing, and we're going to see this big hole in the ground. It's a big chasm that leads to the depths, and all we want to do is just jump right in. But don't do like I did. I don't know why, but I did not pull out my paraglider. Don't do that. When you start seeing lights, pull out your paraglider. That way you don't die like I did. But when you get down here, you're going to run into Ponic, and he's going to say that Robbie took off towards this glowing area. But then he just kept going and going and going, but he thinks he headed west. So now we got to go find him. Now you should have some bright bloom seeds because they are laying around everywhere. You should have been collecting those, but we can fuse one of those with our arrows and shoot it off into the distance. That way we can light up an area. But when you see these big glowing things, you want to interact with them because they are light roots. And when you interact with them, they're going to light up an entire area, and it's going to open up a portion of your map. Now guys, these light roots, they're scattered all throughout the depths. But in between, in the dark areas, you want to use your bright bloom seeds to shoot up into the air so that you can see until you can find them. Now, when you do find them, I highly suggest you put pins on them because it is so easy to get turned around down here. And I also highly suggest that you use Ultra Hand when searching for materials because everything will glow. But now, if you shot a bright bloom seed somewhere and then all of a sudden it goes dark, well, that's because these little guys right here, they're called little Frox. They're digging them up. Hell, they might be eating them. I don't know. But they're getting rid of them. And if they see you and you run away from them, they're going to chase you. But if you'll just turn around and go towards them, they'll start backing up and then they're easy to kill. Plus, they are going to drop zonite, so I suggest you kill them. And when you see these shadowy images that are up on top of like these rock pillars, you might want to go up there and grab their weapons because these weapons, they have not been tarnished by the gloom. And if you'll use your Ultra Hand and just look around, there are lots of large rocks that you can fuse these weapons to. And this will come in real handy when farming zonite because there is just a plethora of this to be found down here in the depths. And when you run across one of these guys, don't be too intimidated because they're kind of like a cross between a Phoenix and a stone talus. But now they will start sucking some wind in. You need to be careful, just kind of get away from him. But all we have to do here is hit him in the eye. He's going to fall to the ground, and then we have to get on his back. And we have to bust all of this ore looking stuff on the back of him. And you have to bust all of it to kill him. But I do suggest giving it a try. Just save your game before you engage in battle with him. That way you don't lose anything. But he will drop a large crystallized charge, and that is equal to 20 normal crystallized charges. And we need those so that we can get some extra battery cells to operate our Zonai devices. But you're also going to run across just some regular encampments. And inside of these encampments, there's going to be these tubular looking things. And I think they're called likes. Well, I don't think they like fire because I hit one with a red choo-choo and it ended up, I guess, sticking its tongue out. That's what I'm going to go with. But it's like this big red ball. But if you hit that, it will stun it and then you can go up and wail on it. And all of these muddle buds that we've been collecting down here in the depths, these are great to use in these encampments because then you can just sit back and watch them beat up on each other. And you're also going to notice some bokoblins that have armor on. Now, you can try to chip away at them with arrows if you want to, but all of these bomb flowers that we've been collecting, those work great because we need to bust the armor off before we can do any real damage to them. But what if you get hit by some of these guys down here? Well, what you're going to notice is not only are you going to take damage, but your hearts, it's going to look like you've got a crack that goes down the middle of them. And that's because you're going to have gloom damage. And when you have gloom damage, even if you eat something, you're not going to recover your hearts. However, there is a plant that we can get called a sundelion. We can find these in chests, but typically they're all over the Sky Islands. But we can cook with this and it will help restore our depleted health due to gloom. And if you happen to have one of those portable cooking pots that you got out of the gumball machines, that can really help you out in a pinch, and you can cook that while you're down here in the depths. But the best way to restore the gloom damage is to actually run underneath one of the light roots. However, that will only heal the gloom damage. You're still going to have to eat something to restore your hearts. And one more thing before we go get Robbie, when you're trying to traverse the terrain in the depths, you can't really run through the gloom, but there's actually some Stalhorses down here, and you can grab one of those and ride right through the gloom without taking any damage. And the beauty of it is there's never any sunlight, so that means they never die. And I don't know that you would actually need it, but if you were to feed this Stalhorse an Endura carrot, it will give it a few extra spurs. And if you want to be able to find these Stalhorses, here's the chasm we fell down in Hyrule. And right here is the Nisoi. I don't know. I guess that's how you say that. Light root. Right here are the horses. And here is the Leusis light root. I don't know how you say those, but the Leusis light root, that's where we're going to find Robbie. Now, once you make it to the light root, just interact with it, illuminate the area, and then you're going to see Robbie standing next to a fire. Just go up and talk to him, and he's going to give you the camera. And that's going to also open up the Hyrule Compendium. And then he's going to ask you to test it out and take a picture of a statue. Now, guys, when you take this picture of a statue, just make sure you see that little red exclamation point pop up. Because if you don't, then it's not going to be a picture of what it's supposed to be a picture of. Okay, remember I told you I was going to show you where you can get a piece of armor that's going to help you traverse the depths? Well, guys, this is the Miner's Top, and it is great. It illuminates, it kind of illuminates the area around you when you have it on. I mean, it's not a lot of illumination, but it's a little. Every little bit helps. But right here's the location at Daphne's Canyon Mine. Here's where Robbie is. And we can find this shirt right here. You'll see this little structure on your map. Okay, so let me show you how we're going to get auto build. If we start out at Lookout Landing and we go just a little bit south to Hyrule Field Skyview Tower, we're just going to go a little south of that to this chasm right here. If you jump from Hyrule Field Skyview Tower and you have the glide suit, you can actually make it all the way to the chasm and to the bottom. Now, if you don't know where to get the glide suit, you can click the link in the upper right hand corner. I'll also leave a link in the description. Now, when you get to the bottom of the chasm, if you'll just turn around until you see this little pillar that has a light on it, and then we're going to hang a right. And I guess that's going northeast. But make your way back through there, and then you're going to see all these parts where you can like build some sort of vehicle or aircraft or something like that. Now, I'm just going to build a simple vehicle, but I want to show you guys something. Whenever you have something and you're using Ultra Hand on it and you're flipping it around and you can't get it to work quite right, just hit the ZL. When you do, it's going to just totally flatten it and level it out. But now I'm actually going to use the bigger piece that I just stood up on its side for the actual vehicle. This smaller piece, I'm only attaching it so that I could use it to stabilize it while I put the wheels on it. But now take a look at these tires. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but they actually have arrows on them. The tires themselves, and they've also got an arrow in the middle. So when you're building a vehicle, just make sure those arrows are all pointing in the same direction. And you'll also notice that each tire has these little knobs that'll stick out from the wheels. You want to make sure when you're attaching these tires to anything that you only attach the knob part, because if you actually attach the tire, well, then it's not going to turn. So now I'm just going to pull my smaller piece, my stabilizing piece off. But now when you're doing this and you're trying to pull something off, only grab the piece that you're wanting to remove, because if you grab the whole thing and you shake it, then the whole thing's just going to fall apart. So now I'm just going to flip it over so I can put the tires on the other side, but I'm still going to put my little stabilizing piece back on there, because I don't know if you have tried to build any of these things. Every time it'll fall over, there's no stability. But again, don't forget, when you're putting tires on the other side, just make sure all the arrows are pointing in the same direction. Okay, so now I'm going to remove my smaller piece, the stabilizer, but now I'm just going to grab that piece, because if I was to grab the bigger piece and shake it, all of the tires are going to fall off. So just be careful when you're trying to remove something from a build. Okay, so I'm going to stick a headlight on it, which they actually have available for us over here, and then I'm going to put some controls on it. I accidentally stuck the controls to it, but as you can see, I just grabbed it by itself and I can move it easily. And if you happen to have some large bright bloom seeds, we can attach those to the vehicle as well, like just in case they don't have a light or something available, or you don't happen to have one. But when you do this, just make sure you're rotating it and putting it to where it's pointing in the right direction. But now you do have to hit the seed to activate it, but when you do that, the vehicle's also going to move, so make sure and hit it again to turn it off. Now, if your battery starts getting low, just jump off before it drains all the way down, and then that way it'll charge a lot faster. So I just jumped off and gathered some things and then jumped back on. But actually, where we're going, you can go by foot. I just wanted to show you guys how you could put a simple vehicle together, and hopefully maybe it helps some people that might be struggling with the Ultra Hand. But anyway, we're looking for this building right here. It's all lit up and you just can't miss it. And here it is on the map. This is the chasm that we went down. And you can see it's just a little southwest, I guess, all the way here to the great abandoned central mine. Now, when you get here, all you want to do is just put your hand on the hand, and that's going to open a fast travel for us. And then just interact with the steward, and you're going to receive the auto build. Now, the two people that are standing here, they're researchers, and they want you to put their vehicles together because they're broken. So we have to use the ability and put these vehicles back together. Now, the first one I did, it was no problem, but on the second one, it took me a couple of tries. I would do the auto build on it, and you can see that it will change different colors. Like, the darker colors will be the auto build, but then it had a wheel that would be like a lighter color. And so, therefore, the auto build wouldn't completely build. So I had to pick it up, do it again, turn it a little bit. So I don't know if exactly what it is, because I just got the ability. So if anybody knows, leave some comments below to help others. But like I said, I picked it up the second time, turned it a little bit, and everything was fine. Okay, so after we get the auto build and we put the two vehicles back together, we're going to face off with Master Kohga. Now guys, he's not too difficult. He's going to come out in several different vehicles, but every time you can just take an arrow and shoot him off. I just fused an eyeball to my arrows and shot him off his vehicles, and then I just ran up and wailed on him. However, I was only down to 6 arrows, and I didn't really realize that. But I was able to kill him with my very last arrow. So I hope this video helps. Thanks for watching, guys. And if you're new to the channel, I hope you consider subscribing. And I'll just catch you guys next time.
Don't